All right, so being this is my last video of this series, this is gonna be in more of a rant form. I don't script any of this, it just kind of comes off the top of the head. And so apologies in advance if I take you on a journey for the next 5 to 15 minutes, but bear with me, because even if 10 seconds of this is meaningful to you, then it is meaningful for me to share it. First thing I want to talk about is identity. I talked about it a little bit in my last video. Identity comes with responsibilities and expectations. And I believe that when we define ourselves by a certain identity, then we end up becoming almost in our own little prison, our own little cage of what that identity allows us to do within this massive and expansive life that we get to live. For example, when you are a student, you are very limited to being a student. Whether you're a student because you're 18 going into college, or you're a student when you're 30 going back to school, or whether you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s getting a master's program. When you become a student, you actually start to live life and see life through the views and lenses of identifying as someone going to school. With that comes identity crises, because you might face challenges that you're only experiencing because you feel like you have to do something because your role as a student bids you to do it. That might be apply for an internship. It might be for you to do research that you don't want to do. It might be for you to take exams that are not even exams that you're studying because you want to study, but because you have to study to pass your school. Otherwise, you might be an employee, someone who's already working at a job. You're already a corporate professional or just a professional in general. You can be a technician, you can be in a trade, you can be in any type of job you like. That job comes with its own identity. It comes with its own glass ceiling, and it comes with its own glass floor. And we tend to live within that box that we put around ourselves, and that the collective group, our team, our leadership, our co-workers, even our friends and family who support us, put us in that box as well, because that's how they identify you. That's how they would introduce you to someone. That's how, if they're talking about you in third person, they might say, oh yeah, Julian works in sales, and that is now a part of my identity, whether I like it or not. And that's crazy. And so one thing that I learned from taking this time away was I learned how to identify as Julian with no other title. No before, no after. I, at this point in my life, am just Julian. And that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to be able to say, I'm just me. I'm just me. I'm not a student anymore. I'm not an employee anymore. I'm not a partner. I'm not anything other than just me. And it doesn't mean that I give up all of that. It means I just let loose on the grip. And the most beautiful part about learning how to live life as me, I had the time and the ability to learn what makes me happy, what makes me unhappy, what processes that I adopt in my previous time that I thought were me, that I identified as a part of my life, part of my routine, a part of my day-to-day, that actually weren't mine. They were just things that I was conditioned over years and years and years of doing, or of being told to do, that my brain rationalized, oh, this is me. I am now this. But when I took time away and I let go of that routine, which was really hard to do, I will say. I remember even after I quit my job and I thought I'd be free to do stuff, I realized, well, a lot of my friends work 9 to 5s. And so I was alone. I was alone a lot of the time. And I had to figure out what to do with that time. But I remember for the first month and a half, I actually played more video games, specifically Call of Duty Warzone, because it's free. And that's the only game I actually played. But I was addicted even more so than I was actually working my job. I used to blame my job for this game. Like, I play this game because it's a good escape from work. But then when I didn't have work, I actually played the game more because I had more time, and I didn't understand at that point in time that I had to learn how to unlearn what video games meant to me, how much time it was taking, how aggressive I would get. I'm super chill. If you know me in real life, you know this. Hopefully as I share my story more in here, you'll also be able to feel that vibe. I'm very laid back in life. But when I played video games, Call of Duty specifically, I would get aggressive. I feel like my cortisol levels would spike, and I would feel like my heart rate increase, and I'd play for like hours and hours, and I'd get off of the game, and I would be too emotionally like high to want to be productive. And so instead, I would watch Netflix or watch anime, and I would then be stuck to that for hours and hours because my brain was so fried from how emotionally taxing the game was. But think about it, like I played video games my whole entire life, and I would justify them by saying it's a break and by saying it provides a social interaction with my friends. It did the second one for sure. The first one is probably the opposite. But I had to unlearn that and take the time to unlearn that. And I had to do that same thing with a variety of different things, like the gym. I've been going to the gym since I was 16. For the last 10 years, I thought the gym was my life. And there's probably a lot of you out there, guy and girl, who have really adopted the mentality of the gym. The location of the gym is you. I believe it could be, and I believe for some it is. I have a homie, shout out to Stocks, who it is now his identity, and he crushes it. And I believe if you're looking for fitness advice on how to sculpt your body, I could refer you to him and trust that he would take care of you. But in my case, in my life, I realized that the gym was something that I wanted to declutter, because the double standard of going to the gym, which you guys can comment below if this is the case for you, there's a high of feeling good when you go, and I love it, but there's a low, there's a negative connotation when you don't go, when you skip it. You might call yourself lazy, you might beat yourself up that you only went 2 days a week instead of 3 days a week. And it made me realize during this time away, why am I feeling this way with video games? And why am I feeling this way at the gym when, do I have to? Like, do I have to feel that? Is that normal? Because it's normalized in my brain. I've conditioned myself to feel good when I go and then not feel that great when I don't go, and then feel like the urge, that antsiness, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I gotta go to the gym, I gotta go to the gym. And so if you guys have seen one of my other videos, I think on like Instagram, I talk about how I haven't had a gym membership now in almost a year. And I've maintained not only the physique and the healthy body, and more so healthy mind that I was trying to achieve by going to the gym, but I've also rid myself of that negativity and that kind of like self-criticism when I don't go. Because now all I do is yoga, flow, and workouts with a 10 pound and 20 pound dumbbell here in the room, and it actually only makes me feel good. I feel great when I work out and I exercise, and if I don't work out for a week or 2 weeks, it's okay. But I think also, kind of asterisk, I live a very active lifestyle outside of this, outside of going to the gym. Always outside, I'm always at the ocean, I'm always at the park. I'm always doing something that gets my body and my mind working. Oh my gosh, that was a big tangent, but along the lines of identity, we identify with all of these different processes that we think are us. And from taking time away, I realized some of these processes are just pure conditioning, and the brain rationalizing that conditioning thereafter so that it makes you feel aligned, so that makes you feel consistent. But what I've also realized is routine and foundation can be strong without being rigid. They can be strong but fluid. A good routine is malleable. It adapts to change. It is able to mold into a new form or cease to exist in one form altogether. A good routine, a good foundation for life allows flexibility. The same way your body should be allowing flexibility, the same way you should be stretching every day, the same way that you should be eating right and allowing your body the nutrients it needs to grow. And the mind, having engaging conversations with people, provoking new ways of thinking, new lines of thought, fresh perspectives, to allow the mind to stay malleable. Because the worst thing that can happen to a human being, and again, asterisk by the worst, is the ability to change is gone. That your ability to grow is gone because you have now solidified the way that you think the world works. And year after year after year remains the same. Nothing changes. You get older, you age, your friendships might stay the same, or because you're rigid, you might lose your friendships. And so this time away has really allowed me to deconstruct my entire living, the way I view everything. And even why I'm allowing myself to share my story here with you guys, I'm not big on social media. And I'm really having to pull myself out of my comfort zone, out of my routine, out of the way I viewed content creation, in order for me to change, in order for me to grow, in order for me to even discover that this is a skill set that I even want to work on, to even acknowledge it as a skill set, right? There was a long time where I was like, content creation, that's not it. Like, that's just, the word itself, the phrase is negative. It's a negative phrase. Social media, negative phrase. And now I'm like, no, like social media is the only way that I'm able to connect with all of you guys who I've connected with already from all around the world. And it just took reframing. It took deconstructing my own view of this in order to allow myself to be a part of this. And all this is to say, identity, do not let anyone or anything define you. You have the whole entire world at your fingertips, literally. No matter where you live or what you're doing, there are always ways to grow and ways to change and ways to create a new identity for yourself. And it's gonna take time. Time, guys, time. It's been 1.5 years for me since I left my job. I feel like I've lived lifetimes, for real, because every single week is different. Every single week is different. My life changes every single week because I'm intentionally taking the most small action in order to make a large change in the future. I released all these expectations I had on myself on what a good, successful, young corporate person should be doing. I released all those expectations, and that was scary. It was so scary because one of my homies told me today, he's like, dude, you're one of the few people, actually only one of 2 people that I know who is following their dream, who's following their heart, who's doing what they want to do. And I was honestly honored. I was honored, June. Thank you for saying that. I was honored. And the whole point of this is to inspire and encourage others to do the same, but understand it's gonna take time. It's gonna take a lot of reflection, a lot of inner work, and a lot of conversations with those who care about you and those who you care about, and expect that there's gonna be resistance, because if you are the only one person in your group who is watching this and being like, oh, I wanna do something different, and 99% of everyone else around you is telling you, no, like, don't do that, like, that's the bad idea, what if this, what if that, what happens if, ... And you don't let that get to you, yes, you use it to reflect upon, you use those questions to engage in that conflict in your brain in a good way, good conflict, welcome conflict, because you are the one who is going to have to overcome that and provide answers for yourself. But it's gonna take time, inner work, a lot of reflection, and a lot of energy, a lot of effort. And that's okay, because the beauty in this journey of mine is that every challenge and every experience, every obstacle that I've faced over the past 1.5 years is one that I've welcomed. I've invited these challenges, I've invited all of these new problems to solve. Because every mistake I make is now just an opportunity to learn. And I don't plan to make the same mistakes twice. I trust my future self 100% to make the right decisions. And when it comes down to it, I can fail, but I'm gonna fail forwards. I'm gonna fail forwards. Like, It's okay to fail. It's okay to be a noob. It's okay to be a beginner, but you should be failing forwards. Don't fail at challenges that you don't even want to try to achieve. What's the point of overcoming an obstacle when you get over that obstacle and you still hate where you are? Think about it. Think about that. Why are you trying to overcome obstacles in your life that you don't actually even want to overcome? There's someone else's obstacles. There's someone else's expectations of you. Why do we do that? Why do we normalize that? Because no one talks about the process. And I guess to wrap this up, I know it's been like 15 minutes almost. That's the point of this community that I want to build. I want to talk about the inner workings of the brain and how we translate that into reality. And I'm experimenting with my own life so that you guys don't have to. Like, guys, I left my career 5 years making 6 figures, living in California, working from home, having everything you're supposed to have on paper, simply because I knew I couldn't drag anyone or anything else through this process with me that I could feel intuitively was about to happen. It was a very lonely time because no one understood what I was doing. And I couldn't articulate myself like this. Not even that this is super clear either. It might be super convoluted to those of you guys who are watching. But I had to go through my own journey, my own brain, all my own obstacles. But the point is, they're obstacles that I invited into my life because I felt confident and conviction in myself that I could overcome them. And that is key. And since that first day of waking up without my job, without a plan, without a strategy, I've worked on that belief more and more and more, and I hammered that in until my brain now, life is literally a sandbox. And I'm choosing to play in the sand in order to help others learn to do the same. Oh my gosh. I hope you guys can feel the energy that just went into that. Supporters, homies, all you guys, anyone else who watches this in the future, love you. Thank you so much for watching. If you are looking for someone to talk to, click the link in the bio, schedule a call. I would love to meet. On that note, hope you guys have a beautiful day, a beautiful life. I'm so excited to keep sharing. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.